If you started a lawn care business today, could you earn $500,000 in revenue within 2 years? Many people take 5 years or longer because they're trying to figure it out. In this video, I'll compress years of knowledge that I've gained to get my business over that $500,000 mark so you can do it within 2 years. We want to go over the basics, so you want to build that foundation. You want to choose a name. So when you're trying to choose a name, I'll give you a brief story on ours. We were trying to figure out what sounded better. So Steven and Steven's Lawn Care or Steve and Steve's Lawn Care. And we decided that Steve and Steven's Lawn Care sounded better rolling off the tongue. But I would do it a little differently. Some of the advice out there would tell you to get something generic like something lawn care that doesn't have anything to do with your name. I mean, you can push through, which we're gonna do anyway, but you're gonna have people when we scale, for example, to say 6 locations, maybe they're gonna be like, oh, where's Stevens, even though we're not running it. So that's something to keep in mind when you're doing your name. You know, maybe you wanna do whatever county that you're in, because maybe you're gonna expand to different counties. So for example, we can use Hernando County Lawn Care if it's not taken already, or you can get more creative if you want, but maybe not use your name. You can form an LLC. We did a DBA our first year. It was a little less to start. We wanted to prove the model and we had to switch over to an LLC. I would go ahead, if I was to redo it, just jump to the LLC. So whatever state that you're in, I would go ahead and do that. Get a business phone number. This is very key. I would definitely recommend this. So we started off going, calls were going to my dad's cell phone. So as we scaled, that became a problem because I couldn't help or an admin couldn't help. You can turn on forwarding, but obviously he get personal calls. What we ended up doing is getting him a whole new phone number, and we converted that line into our business line because we used it for the first 3 years. I would now just get like a Google Voice or some type of line that you can transfer later. Definitely get that when you're starting. A bank, we did get that when we started. Typically a lot of banks that have like a $25 or $50 fee to open. You want to separate your finances so that you look legitimate. This would be the bank account you link to any of your payment processors, or use it for all your business related needs. A domain and email. So instead of having something like @Yahoo, @Gmail, you want to get something like we have, my name @StevenStevensLawn.com. It's a little long. Again, if I had a different name, maybe I have something different, but it does look more professional. If you want to go through like the G Suite, which is Google Suite, or something like that, I think you can start off with something pretty simple, like $20 a month. Something to keep in mind, again, I would do that. We started off with a Gmail for full transparency, but we did change over later. So you could start free at first, but relatively soon I would get that domain to look more official. Get a simple logo. We started off with a more complex logo. Had a lot going on it, and a lot of marketers told us that it'd be hard to see when driving by. That was the best advice we got. So imagine you see a truck drive by. You don't want it to be too busy because it's going to be like, oh, what was that? Or I can't read it, right? So you want to be able to say, oh, that's exactly what that is. ABC Lawn Care. It's ABC Lawn Care. It's not a, tree fours or the alphabet going in a circle and whirling around and no one knows what it is. So think, can my logo be identified in a moving vehicle? Keep it simple. You can always rebrand later. So I think Tommy Mello is a guy out there that has over a $200 million garage company. He rebranded years into the game. You can always rebrand later. Don't worry about the logo too much. And even the name, you can change it later as well. We probably won't, but keep that in mind. Early on, what's really important is getting that online presence. A lot of guys try to figure out how they can get more jobs. If you're thinking like, let's say you have a 9-to-5 right now, I would get the online presence going so that you can transition out. My dad, for example, was working for his dad, my granddad at the time, and we worked on weekends. So we filled up our Saturday, then half our Sunday, and then we took Fridays off. And we got 2.5 days filled before we went full time. But at that time, I had started a GoDaddy website, and we had got some presence at the time. So if you want to start with some type of website, you can do GoDaddy, Wix, Squarespace. All of these could work as a starter site. You can transition to more of a professional site once you make some more money. I would still probably start with, say, Wix or Squarespace if I was to restart. If I had some money though, I would go ahead and pay someone like Home Service Web Design. They're only $500 a month. If I had, let's say, 6 months worth of that, which would be $3,000, I would go ahead and have that money ready to go towards a really great website so you can pop up in your local area. Because you need the SEO. I'm real big on that. I got other videos explaining SEO, but that search engine optimization, AI is getting really big. A lot of people do not know that AI just references what's on Google or Bing anyway. So if you're the best in the area, they're gonna recommend you on that AI platform. You want to get into as many free directories as possible. That's something like Yelp, just the listing, don't pay for it. You know, Bing, Better Business Bureau, get you a Facebook listing. All these things that come up and point back to your website, giving you more domain authority that helps you rank a little better in your area. Google is very important. Google is our best way of getting new customers. It's a lot of people's lead way of getting customers. It's also with a lot of AI pull. Let's say you got a 5-star rating with 100 reviews, it's gonna reference that in the AI. So you definitely wanna get your Google profile made, upload some photos, really build that all the way out. But I do recommend Google. So you wanna get that online presence in this day and age, make sure this is knocked out. Honestly, you can do this in like a weekend. It's not gonna take too long to get this done. Another important thing to figure out is your equipment. When we first started, we went ahead and got a repaired commercial belt drive, 36-inch walk behind. That's what we went with, but we knew the shop owner, so they gave us a really good deal. You can also find something that got low hours. One of our standard machines, I think we had like 40 hours on it, super low. We got it for $4,000 less than what it would normally go for, but you can also look into some used trucks as well. You want to get used, and the reason I'm pointing this out is because you want to prove that model before you start getting new trucks, you know, a year or two later. Utility trailers are cheaper than enclosed trailers, so I would definitely say get a utility one. For example, I think you can get like a 6x10 for a couple $1,000 versus a really good enclosed is going to be around 10,000. So you can get your mowers on that. It's okay to buy new basic hand tools. I mean, they're gonna cost you a couple $100 each. You're still gonna spend $100 or so if you get a used hand tool. So that's okay on this equipment front. You've got your equipment, you got it established, you got your own bank account, you have a strategy, you got a website. We're gonna go ahead and get some customers now. So typically you're gonna start with friends and family. I think our friends and family were one of our first few. And then you wanna see if they're gonna recommend, make a social media post, you know, saying, hey, you just started your new business. You can post in some Facebook groups, post on your normal one, make it shareable, see if some people will come out. Offer a free mow, maybe for a review, because you wanna get some reviews. They're really important. So, you know, I'm saying if you're starting on a weekend or something like that, it's very important to get those reviews, some 5 stars. So you go to people and be like, hey, I'll do this for an honest review. Really, you want a 5-star? Go ahead and mow them. They might throw you in a tip or something, but that'll help you get new customers later. So it may be worth, you know, weaving that in. Maybe you do a couple, you know, cheap mows and then some free mows to get those reviews. Your early acquisition strategy is going to probably be more like door hangers, anything that requires time. So, you know, passing out door hangers or business cards, going to chamber events, things like that, and getting referrals. If you're doing really good work, you're going to get word of mouth. So SEO takes a little bit of time. So even though I want that online and I know that organic is king, it's going to take 3+ months. So if you're really starting out, you got to get those door hangers, friends and family, Facebook posts, get started. This is what you're going to be doing that first year, is what I would do as well, before you start spending money on paid ads, because you want to have a really good system in onboarding and sales before you start paying for ads. The software you use early on is going to help as well. So we started with Yardbook. Yardbook's still around, great entry-level software. They got a paid version that gives a little bit more power. I would say if you're under 50 customers, that this is a good option. Homeworks also has like less than 50 customers. I believe they have a free tier or a cheap tier. And then Jobber's a really good, easy app to use as well. But get some type of application early on. If I was starting today, I am currently on Homeworks, but I would start with Homeworks because the migration process sucks. I went from Yardbook to Service Autopilot, now I'm in Homeworks. Each time it got a little worse, I got more customers. So now I can't imagine going somewhere with 300+ customers, trying to go into a whole new system. So I would recommend anyone starting out there, definitely just start with Jobber or Homeworks. But you can start with Yardbook, it's completely free. These software is gonna help with your invoices and estimates. So it's gonna make it real easy to manage. You'll know what estimates you sent out. I know with Homeworks, you can build in some automation, so maybe you don't have to call and text every customer. It'll already be in that system where it follows up for you. Same thing with invoicing. We started off with PayPal, then we switched to Square, but it was a whole different system outside of our CRM. Having it in one place is a lot better. You put cards on file, things like that. Also, Homeworks has a customer portal, so they'll be able to accept estimates and pay their invoice and put a payment on file for you. So that's good. You put notes on the account. That'll tie in once you start growing, because once you have more than 100 accounts, you know, somebody might have a special backyard or you have another guy going to cut it. You want to be able to add those things on there as far as notes. Scheduling, when you have 10 to 20 customers, it might be easy to remember what week they're on, you know, the first or second, if it's bi-weekly. If it's weekly, you know, they're on Tuesdays and stuff like that. But once you get 100 plus customers, trying to keep up on who's where, and if you got to send a guy out, that's going to be a headache. So you want to take advantage of that scheduling software that's also included in the CRM. You want to get a phone system. As I mentioned earlier, you don't want to start with your cell phone. I'll get either Google Voice or Ring Central. Ring Central is what I would recommend. Go ahead and learn that platform, get a virtual number that you're going to be using. Have an AI answering service early on. I would definitely do this now with what I know now. That way I don't have to burden myself or my dad. We got burnt out. My dad, when he was out there working, it was too much trying to mow a yard and take calls. So AI answering service, you won't miss calls. People don't really like leaving voicemails. So you can build it in a way where it can intake for you, get their name, address, phone number, things like that. You can call them back or put them in your system and send them an estimate. So I would definitely recommend these things. I know that Good Call is about $100 a month. I don't know what Ring Central AI, but if you go with Ring Central, you might as well get the AI package. It adds on there. It'd be worth getting when you're starting out. Now that we put that all together, you're gonna have a growth plan. So while solo, you wanna get 40 to 50 customers, but you wanna make sure you're charging, I guess in the South, a minimum of 40 because you're getting started. I wouldn't recommend that. I really think you should be at 50 or 60, but you're just getting started, so you're gonna start at 40. 50 loans is gonna give you about $2,000 a week if you're charging per cut. You want your close rate to be 60% or more. So the number of estimates sent versus how many are accepted. So you want 6 out of 10 or better, right, for your pricing so that you can fill up. Once you hit capacity, which is gonna be 50 in your case, you're gonna go ahead and raise 10 to 20%. You wanna get our close rate down to about 50%. So half our estimates that go out. Just by doing that, you're gonna gain an extra $400 a week. So it goes from $2,400 a week. Instead of that, that's gonna be an extra $1,600 for the whole month just because you raise your rates. But this is gonna make us a ton of money while we're running lean. You might be running out your home, out of a storage, before you're getting ready to scale. But this is what I would recommend as far as starting out, definitely in the South. Now that you're profitable and you're growing, we're gonna go ahead and hire our first employee. Once you're over 50 customers, you wanna hire a helper. So avoid Craigslist. Oh my God, don't do Craigslist. We did that early on for whatever reason. We did start a while back, but man, it was horrible. I just don't do it. Go ahead with Indeed. Some people do Facebook, but you can do a free listing on there. You want to make a really good post, you can use ChatGPT or something like that. Look at some ones that's out there. Make it compelling if someone would want to leave an application. Then use some basic filters. You can put Indeed questions like, do they have a valid driver's license, stuff like that. I would definitely do that today and not go back to what we had before. Usually if they don't have a valid DL for some reason, child support, tickets or anything like that, they're probably not gonna be a good hire. And this is your first hire. So you want to get someone that you like and that's responsible, right? Because you're probably gonna train them to be a foreman. So they gotta have reliable transportation. You don't wanna be picking these guys up. You wanna make sure they can get to work on time. And then they can pass a background check. So even if you don't run a background check, ask the question anyway. A lot of guys would be honest, or you just ask them like, hey, if I was to run this, is there anything I should be concerned about? We actually do run it, but I run it at $25 per, but you can use it purely as a filter. You're gonna grow to 90 plus customers with that one employee. You're gonna use that same logic we did before. You wanna be at about 60% close rate. And once you get full, raise it up again till you get to 45, 50% close rate. That way you know you're very profitable. Once you got that helper trained, you're gonna get them up to a foreman level, or you might have to hire someone else, but you're gonna buy another used truck. Again, we're not getting new trucks right now, we're gonna get used. You're gonna have them start in that second truck that you just bought, and you're gonna get them a helper. Once you get them a helper, you're gonna also have them around that 90 to 100 customer range, and you're still gonna do 30 to 40 because you gotta make up for your pay and keep growing the company. So we should be at about 50 bucks a cut because we raised a few times now, and we got 120 to 140 customers, which means if you're doing a per cut model, you should be making 6,000 to 7,000 a week during that growing season. So for the month, that's gonna be what, 24,000 to 28,000. So this should be a good model for 3 employees, you know, counting yourself. Now you can run those Facebook ads and things like that, and we'll touch on that. But this is how you start expanding into that second truck. So we should be going into that second season now. So during the off season, you made some automations. You probably got some uniforms, clean up your AI intake, and got truck lettering. So lettering your truck is cheaper than doing a full wrap. We've done both ways. So our wrap was like, I think $2,000 to $3,000. And then our lettering was about $400 per truck. So I would start off with lettering because it looks relatively good to us. I would definitely have all these things in place as well. So now that you got your commercial equipment, you got your CRM dialed in, you got that automation, you got the answering service, you got uniforms, you got your truck lettering in place. Going into that second season, we can look into running some paid ads. So Facebook ads or PPC ads, which are gonna be your Google ads. And then your SEO should be a lot stronger now. You should be ranking towards the top. You should be getting good Google reviews. You can also build an automation out. I think I have a video on that, but basically you wanna look into after each service with your new customers that you're sending out or review requests from them. So you should have 50+ reviews, and that's gonna help you stand out in your market. So we're going into that second season with all this in place and then these ads. All right, we made it to the money round. So we got 200+ customers because we're scaling to that 500K. That means if you're doing about $50 a cut, you're gonna be about $10,000 a week. We do a flat rate model, which means that we even out their cost for the year, and we are around 230, 240 customers. So we've definitely proven this model, and we were right above this last year. So you wanna have less than 30% churn, which means you wanna lose less than 30% of your customers. So in this case, we don't wanna lose 60 customers, or more than that, I should say. You don't wanna lose 80, because that means you gotta add way more than what you're losing. And the key to keeping people year round is gonna be your winter services. So are you gonna, we do leaf cleanups, we do mulch, rocks, and sod, but you know, maybe your area, they like doing mulch in say November or February. Christmas lights, obviously, November, December, January, February, you do Christmas lights. You can put them up and take them down. We do spring cleanups as well. So that was really big. And this month, for whatever reason, we did a lot of sod projects. So we do a little bit more than just the maintenance. I always say an easy number for us was about 10% extra was made due to projects. So let's say this is 10,000 a week, 40,000 for the month. We'll make another 4,000 a month in upsells. So you're gonna also end up buying that second truck. Again, you're gonna do the same model. You got 2 trucks going, you train a guy, you put him in this new truck, get him a helper. You got 4 guys out there in the field now, and then you can do 20 yards. So you wanna keep working, but you wanna, you know, go down on your workload so that you can keep, you know, answering phones, making sure customers are taken care of. We operate out of a storage that keeps your costs low. Once we grow a little bigger, we'll get a permanent spot. That way we can get all our trucks in one area. Because once you have 4, 5, 6 trucks, it would make sense to be in one area. You'll also be, you know, beyond this. You might be at 800, 900K, almost $1 million. We get general liability insurance pretty cheap, and then we got workers' comp. Ours is like $500 a month. So that's how you can scale to this in a 2-year span. We do plan on expanding to a new location in about a year or 2, so we'll be able to test this model. But we've already hit this marker, so want to make sure we gave you guys tips to speed that up for you. And as long as you go about it the smart way, you know, be really lean, be smart with your money, keep your costs low, you're going to be able to hit that 500K within that 2-year span. I hope that was insightful and very helpful for you guys to go ahead and start your business. Hopefully you can learn some lessons from what we did and take these and apply it this year or next year, whenever you're gonna start your business. This isn't the only way to build a $500,000 company, but it is an option. And hopefully that was helpful for you. You can like and subscribe for more.